Good evening. My name is Kurt Freskowski. Welcome to the Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, September 7th, 2023 at 6 p.m. This meeting is in person and on Zoom. The meeting hearing will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this meeting in person. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom and Channel 8. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom, meeting ID number 860-877-1519, or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at ATM at Ayer Mass US, or 978-772-8220, extension 100 prior to the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And in attendance, we have Andrew Seeley and Jin Hong. Clerk, yes. And myself, Kurt Freskowski. First item is review and approval of the June 22nd meeting minutes.
Which we don't have yet.
Okay, so we will.
I need to email them to you for you guys to review, and then we can approve them next
Okay, so once we'll be looking at the meeting schedule a little further on, and we'll, so that our next meeting, we will do the June 22nd meeting minutes, and hopefully the meeting minutes from this meeting at that time. Okay, the next item is, well, fiscal year 2025 budget process review. So we are still in the fiscal year 2024. So next April at town meeting, we will be approving the fiscal 2025 budget. So as far as that is concerned, I did check with Robert and Carly, and that process hasn't really kicked off or moved on just yet. So what I would like to do is look at the current year that we are in, fiscal year 2024, and just take a look at some of the highlights of that budget. And I thought we could use that as a kickoff point for our first finance committee after a few months off. So
sounds good.
Okay. I made some notes, and what I would like to, we can go down those, and Andrew, you'll just note those in the minutes. And again, these are current items in the fiscal year 2024 budget. And so to start off, the first one is the playground. So what I've thought we should as a committee do is begin to look at that, reach out to DPW, Dan, and see where they are on the playground, see where we are in the budget as far as actual expenditures and everything like that. So what I would propose is that one of us reach out to Dan, and maybe for our next meeting, we can get an update on the playground.
So we invite him to join our next meeting.
That would be one item, or
One of us go to meet him.
or no, what I was thinking more maybe is that we would put these items actually on the agenda. So in other words, maybe two or again, I'm jumping ahead to our next meeting, but for the next meeting, we could say have reached out, and I will volunteer to do this unless Jen or you and Andrew want to.
Aren't you retired now, Kurt?
Yeah, so I have lots of time.
That's right. So volunteer yourself. Go to meet Dan.
So my idea, though, is just to, for our next meeting, start to reach out to, and this will be the items as we go down here, have either a report or someone will attend our next meeting or the meeting after and give an update on the playground. Here's where we are with the process, here's where we are on monies being spent, what have you, like that.
Do you guys know what those signs for Save Pearl Park is about?
We will touch on that.
Okay.
Cover that later.
Okay.
Okay, that's.
Imagine that will also become a problem for us.
Yes. And Barbara, thank you for attending. I'm going to touch on two more items and then maybe ask if you have any updates on these. Okay, so the playground is, I will reach out to Dan and others and just to get an update on the playground, on the status and budget and expenditures on that. The other big item was the bridge, okay, on the West Main Street Bridge. So that was, the money was approved for that. So I'd like to again reach out to, I would guess, Dan and just say, for our next meeting or meeting after, can you give us a report on where we are with the bridge?
Didn't we need to issue a thing to borrow money for that? So maybe we can also invite Barbara to that meeting.
Okay. Okay, so, all right, so Dan and, okay, Barbara, so we'll put a peg in that. Funding, okay. Okay, anything else? All right, so that's good. So we'll get an update on Dan on the status, and then, again, Barbara, I'm gonna put a peg in, you'll see in a moment, on the funding on that Andrew brought up. Okay, so those two items. And then the third item is the fire truck. Okay, so those were really the big money items that were approved for 2024. So from Chief, boy, I waved at him the other day. I can't remember.
Johnston.
Tim, yes. Tim. So I will check with Tim and see where we are on that. And so Barbara, here's the peg. So on these items, the playground, bridge, fire truck, is this something that you want, maybe next meeting or the meeting after, you can give us an update on that funding, or should I just leave that to Dan and Tim?
So may I?
Yes.
Just real quick. Sorry, I wasn't prepared.
Oh, no. And
Just a planning meeting?
I'm not asking you to.
But yes, anytime you need an update, rest assured there is a plan in place and the funding is there for the projects. So
Okay.
We're good to go.
Okay.
But yeah, anytime you need any information on that, anything, just let me know. I'll be glad to
Okay.
help you with.
All right, good. That's what I figured. So I think on all three items then is, again, I'll reach out for the playground and bridge to Dan and Dan under DPW, and look at, again, with Dan, and then the fire truck with Tim, touch on funding, and we may ask Barbara for some input from you on that also. But these are things that I can look at over the next weeks. So,
Thank you.
how does that sound to the committee so far? Those
Sounds good.
items?
Thank you for volunteering to do the work. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, I am quote unquote retired. So I say quote unquote because I've already renovated a bathroom for my stepdaughter, and yeah. Any case.
I heard free labor, and retired
Yes,
equals
I'm free labor. Okay, so the next item This really wasn't part of the 2024 budget, but it has come up in the last few weeks, so this is going to tie into your observation about Peroni Park, is I thought we should, as a committee, should get an update on the senior center. So, again, when I say an update is for our next meeting or the meeting after. So as far as I understand, there was, the senior center was put forward with the, it being located in Peroni Park. There was a group that wanted to look at the Peroni Park location even further. And then there was, I think it was halted at that point. And from what I understand, and again, this is where we need to get some better information next time, is that the process, the senior center process has started again.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm sort of...
Who do you get that information from?
So,
It's on the Facebook page. I saw it today.
Oh,
The town Facebook page has information about it.
I
but
see. See, I never look at
Ask
Facebook.
someone with the sign, and they'll give you lots of opinions.
Yeah.
Okay, I only saw the sign, but I didn't see who put out the sign. So I guess wherever the sign is located, I'll go find the homeowner.
I had the same question. I'll be honest.
so, okay, so that's, yeah, there is, and I'll be perfectly honest with you again, I was hoping to have, there are details that was talked by the select board just this week, I believe, at the select board meeting about the senior center and the current process on that. So again, I will gather those information on that. And I'm sort of looking at our agenda is being laid out for our next two meetings will be playground, bridge, fire truck, senior center and stuff. And we'll get details on all of those. And then I think then we can start digging in further.
I never know exactly where the senior center is. I've never been there.
You don't know what?
I don't know exactly where the senior center is.
Oh, yeah.
It's, so if you go.
I've called them before, but I've never really been to the place.
Yes, if,
I think I have a rough idea. Like if you stand at Peroni Park, there's a baseball field, and there's a field here that kids could play soccer. When my son was young, they play soccer here. And then there's fence, and so that outside the fence on the other side, is that where the senior center is?
so there's housing
It's sort of like
there,
housing
and
for
then there
people.
is the senior center is in there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and the whole idea is that the town has looked at building a new senior center. There's a definite need for it.
Yeah.
And the group did a lot of work on it, and they came up with the location of Peroni Park. And that was what was presented a few months ago. And then there was folks that had feelings about the location in Peroni Park. So then there was another meeting sort of put that on hold, that process. And now we are, again, just this week, a new committee is being formed and what have you. So we'll get all those details together and stuff. So. Okay. Is there anything else in this current fiscal year that we should, again, same theme here, look at that you can think of as?
No, not that I can think of. I would think planning for this upcoming one, we could plan better this time now that hopefully we know what we're doing.
Yes.
So, when do you think we should have our next meeting or series of meetings?
Yeah, so then, okay, so if there's no more items as far as the budget is concerned, I think I've got enough homework. And again, I think these 4 items, the playground, bridge, fire truck, senior center, will create agenda items for our
Next meeting.
meeting stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and then move on to the next item, which is the meeting schedule. I started looking at the calendar, and Tuesdays are usually select board, Wednesdays have been busy, and I've been seeing Thursdays, specifically the 7th, like for this month, 7th and 21st were open. So essentially almost every other Thursday we could be, so I don't know if we want to.
Oh, Concom is on Thursdays, right?
Right, but not till 7. No. Oh, but it's every other.
They're the every other one, yeah.
Yeah, it's every other. Yeah, so they're the 14th and 28th, like for this month. So that's, thank you. So I brought that into account. So what I was.
It's every other.
Yeah, so what I was throwing out is,
I have a caveat. I can't
Yes.
start until October. I'm out of the country for the next month.
Well, okay, so what I was,
If I may.
yes, Barbara.
Just in planning for the fiscal 25 for your meeting schedule for the budget. So Robert will be attending a select board meeting sometime the end of September, just to start the calendar process. Once that happens, he'll be able to assist better with the process and our review. I did bring this, it's last year's calendar process, so you can maybe see where you'll really need to ramp it up versus, now versus later in the budget season. Would you like this copy?
Yeah, maybe I think it's a
It just kind
good
of gives you an
idea.
idea, and so you can see that right now it's more setting up the calendar and figuring things out as the budget season really kicks off later in the year. So I'll give that to you. And I hope that helps with your meeting schedule.
Sorry.
So conservation meets the second and fourth Tuesdays,
Second.
Thursdays, I'm sorry, second, fourth.
So essentially what I
I
was,
don't think there's any recurring meetings happening on the opposite Thursdays.
so that's what I was thinking is maybe we can, again, plan on the first and third Thursdays of the month.
Yeah, and you need to verify that with Carly.
Yes, and again,
Check with Carly, and then just to give you an idea of when you'll really need to kind of focusing on the fiscal budget. Really, I think it starts a little later.
It's like early December.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The 24 budget directive came out December 2nd last year.
Yep, so what that happens is Robert will send a directive to all the departments with a deadline for them to have an initial request for the budget. Comes in around the end of December, and then things kind of go from there.
okay.
Oh, thank you. I'll take a look and then give it to you.
And that is on our website. It's last year's, but it's on the website. Again, they haven't updated it. It'll be the end of this month that they'll start the calendar or have the calendar for fiscal 25.
So what I was thinking is to overall set up our basic schedule being the first and third Thursdays.
As needed.
Right, yeah, that's, again, now, so next, next meeting would be the 21st of September, but considering that the time frame, maybe we would then instead go to the October 5th would be our next meeting.
I'm still not back to the 5th. But, 2 comments. Sorry.
Yes.
Sebastian might be able to make those meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we can find a 5th
Hopefully we have a 5th person.
before the budget year starts would be helpful. I don't know who you have to whisper to get that moving, but
Yeah, no, that's in the works. We're just, hopefully someone is going to be submitting a letter of intent.
cool. We like that.
So, Jen, what are your feelings? Ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I can do first and third Thursday. My schedule is also a bit up in the air, but I don't really want to discuss it before I said anything firmly. So yeah, but I think to have another person, a fifth person, will be a good idea in case one of us can't attend in person.
Oh,
So-
yes.
Yeah,
Plus,
so-
plus the,
Because, yeah, I mean, Andrew's talking about being out of town till October, but I may be out of town from late October through the end of the year, so we'll see. Not sure, we'll see. I will go to the town website to check this.
Well, we could pencil those in,
okay.
and then we can decide. Like, I won't be the next one, but you three might be able to make the next one. Probably a little too soon to be cordial for Dan and Fire and all that.
Oh, yeah, that's, in fact, I think that works out well, is that. So what I would like to propose is that we set up a overall, you'll come up with a better word than I.
Overall plan is in the minutes right now.
Is first and third Thursdays are the,
At 6.
at 6 would be in general, when the
The
finance committee.
the default time slot, and then if it doesn't work, we can, when it gets closer, if, there are other conflicts, we can then try to
Okay.
adjust. Yeah,
And then, so for example, if we can do a second and vote on
I mean,
that
if-
particular item, and then the second, and then, so we sort of have a structure there.
Yeah.
And then each meeting we can say, okay, and the case in point is that would, on that schedule, that would put us for September 21st. But since it's early in the year, we will not do that one, and we will go to the next one, which is October 5th, and we'll plan on doing the October 5th meeting. And we can do that separate.
sure. I think if we could, whenever we meet next time, if it's not the third week of September, if it's the first week of October, whatever, to get an update of what you found out there, it would be good. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if Andrew isn't here, I guess if Sebastian can be here, then I guess could one of us substitute to take notes? Or?
Oh,
Yeah, if I'm not here, someone else can take
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm not sure we need a formal vote on it. I think you can just schedule the meetings and
Oh, okay. So, and I think the big advantage here, and one thing that I was not real good at last year, was keeping these meetings on a regular flow, and that made it hard for us. So I think the idea here is that we've got a overall framework of what our meeting structure will be, and then it'll make it a little bit easier for us to.
we agree with you.
Okay, so, all right, so we will be doing first and third Thursdays.
Well,
at
we're already
6
going to skip the September one.
Right, except for September 21st. So our next meeting will be Thursday, October 5th at 6 p.m. Okay. On that, what my feeling is, and I like to get to read from the committee, is to do in-person meetings only.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Okay. I just think they're more effective. And
Barring any strange complications, I think that's fine.
Jim?
yeah, as long as I'm in in here, I'm more than happy to do it in person. Yeah.
Okay, so then so our overall structure, again, just going back, first and third Thursdays at 6 p.m. In person. Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on, as part of the meeting schedule is just wanted to touch base on our assignments as a group and make sure we're, I've got, I've got it correct. I believe currently, Andrew, you are on the rate review board. Okay, so you'll be attending those meetings.
I like that committee.
Yes.
I argue with everyone and it makes me feel good.
Okay.
Maybe sometime you can give us an update on what those meetings are like.
Everyone, they just want to raise rates, but not too much, but not enough to actually cover the cost of things, which boggles my mind. So,
Okay. Myself, I'm on the capital planning committee. Sebastian is our representative at the executive buy board. And Jin, we had you, Dan reached out and wanted to have one of us on the stormwater
stormwater.
committee. And you said that you'd be willing to work with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I haven't got any notice that I need to attend any meeting, so I only know that, kind of, so far, I basically have not really done any work.
Okay, so actually, I will, since I'll be touching with Dan on playground and bridge, I can ask about the stormwater committee.
I'm really interested in that committee, Jen.
Really?
I want to know what's going on. It's an interesting proposal.
Okay. Now, do you think we need to take a vote on having Jin on that particular committee, or?
Did we vote on all the others?
technically.
Did we?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to put Jen forth as the stormwater committee person.
I second that.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Jin.
I can I myself? Okay,
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Yeah, that's right. I can vote myself, right?
Very good. So we have 3 votes aye that Jen will be on our representative with the stormwater committee. And again, part of my homework will be touching base with Dan, and I'll make sure he reaches out to you, gives you an update on that. Okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the Massachusetts Municipal Association. Jen, we started looking at, we discussed that, there's the website out there. It's got a lot of good information. And I went out and looked at it, and apparently you actually have to join. And I sent an email and made a phone call to them about getting us a membership. I didn't hear back from them, but I talked to Carly today, and she will reach out to her contact. And I think what will happen is that usually the chairman gets a membership at the Massachusetts Municipal Association, and then that gives us access to a lot of materials that on how to run a finance committee.
Yeah, last year Robert talked about that there was even this half a day or 1 day seminar, and this is happening. I forget. I think it was in October, November last year. It happened when I was not in the country. I actually was hoping, to attend it this year to learn something, but that was offered by this
Yes.
association, right?
Exactly.
Do you know the schedule for this year? Like when they will offer this?
So, that's what I'm going to find out.
Okay, yeah.
So step 1 will be Carly will be double checking on getting us a
So you need to
membership.
be a member to actually get the information, maybe.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the web, there's basic information, but if you want to get manuals and again, I don't know if I'm using the right correct words for the resources, but various resources, to access various resources, you have to be a member. And then what I would then be able to share that with you and Andrew and Sebastian and hopefully our 5th person. And I think it'll be invaluable to help us, navigate. So, and then, as you're saying, then I think it would be interesting meeting in November, I believe, is a
Yeah, I'd
conference.
like to know when it is and see if I can attend.
Okay. All right, so then we'll get an update, where October 5th agenda is filling up. Get an update on our membership and that conference in, I believe, November sounds about right.
Okay.
Okay, and then sort of last thing, this is sort of part of the budget process review, and so I should have brought this up. But I would like to reach out, I suggest that we reach out to, glad you're here, Barbara, and ask if we can get copies of the balance sheet and income statement for the town.
The what sheet?
Balance sheet.
Balance sheet.
Yes, I mean, see, our audit is public information, which we can get you copies of.
Okay.
If you want the last fiscal year that we've closed. So yeah, I would maybe drill down on exactly a time frame you're looking for. And I would just put an email into the town manager's office on what you're looking for. And then they'll reach out to myself and or the accountant who
Okay.
keeps the balance sheet and the trial balance and get any information you need.
Okay.
That's the current spend against the budget proposed.
So every month the accountant does post. It's out through the town managers. If you go to the Town of Ayer's website, go to the town managers department and look for department head reports. Under there, under the town accountant, every month she posts the current expense budget and what's been expended so far for the year. So if that's the type of thing you're looking for,
Well-
it's out there. If you're looking for prior year financial statements, that's
Okay, so my accounting is rusty, and this is all when I say a balance sheet, I don't know how, if, in other words, what is it, assets on one side, liabilities on the other, is that a balance sheet?
yeah.
The
So
classic.
so if that's what you're looking for, you probably want the balance sheet as of our last finalized audit.
Right, yeah, so, okay, so
I would
again,
just throw an email what you're looking for, and we'll get with you.
but I was just, so I would just throw out to the committee then, Jen and Andrew, if that's something I can get request and then share that with the finance committee and.
Sure.
And I think that would be, again, the balance sheet is again a snapshot of all the assets and funds of the town. And and now we have looked at the budget, but I just it'd be good to see, get a little bit.
We can
more.
see I guess it sounds like there is actually a lot of information on the town website that we just probably haven't looked at it. So maybe, yeah, we can, spend some time actually reading the information that's already available. And if it's not there, then we can probably ask them for more.
Okay.
We definitely knew that like 8 months ago. It's just gone from your brain where to find these things.
Okay.
I feel like I never spent enough time learning about this town. Thing.
Well, I think one of my ideas is if we, again, sort of, and this sort of ties in with the Mass Municipal Association. I'm hoping and thinking, and may get some feedback, that they may be able to say, here's what you would be looking for, and here's what you would, as far as a balance sheet or an
Okay.
income statement or a budget, and here's how you look at it. So again, I just want to, good thing I'm retired.
I have a, I even generate, balance sheet for my own business, but I don't think I'm very good at reading that.
Right.
I mean, you can get the software generate the statement for you, but how to actually, interpret them. it's-
So, but I think that would be, again, for maybe an item on our October 5th agenda was like, okay, here's what the information we have on financial reports for the town, and here's how we can start looking at them going forward. That sounds good?
Good idea.
Okay. All right, well, good. I think is there anything else
Public comment.
before we open for public comment?
Oh, I thought you meant like, is there anything else on the agenda?
Okay.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
All right. I'd like to go ahead and open our meeting for public comments.
Pauline is the reason.
Hi, Pauline.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi,
there we are.
Pauline.
Okay.
Hi.
I wasn't sure I hit the unmute button. Good evening, Kurt. First, I want to say it's a pleasure meeting you the other day at the transfer station, and I enjoyed our conversation.
Yes.
Love the transfer station.
Likewise.
Before the meeting started, I only had 2 things I wanted to share. I have a few more, but I will be very brief, I promise, because I too would like to have my dinner. It's been a very tough day. So I'll start with one thing that's important to me anyway as a resident, and I will follow your meetings all year. You have members assigned to various committees, which you have already reviewed. And I think an agenda item for your regular meetings should be committee reports so that all the members of the FinCom are aware of what happens at your committees, at the various committees, rate review, which has met twice now with no FinCom representative, and the others, including the new Stormwater Utility Fund Committee. These are all important and will all be involved in the omnibus budget and the town warrant for the April 2024 fiscal year 2025 budget. So I would like you to add that to your agenda.
Okay.
As we talked at the transfer station, Kurt, I think given the time frame, it would be optimum for the FinCom to meet with, if not the existing or currently elected regional school committee, at least a former member who reached out to me and offered his assistance to the finance committee to go over how their budget is prepared. He was on the regional school committee, the committee to decide regionalization, and was chairman of the then Ayer Shirley Regional School Committee for a very long period of time before he resigned. And I think he would be a wealth of information, because our role as residents in Ayer and as FinCom members in Ayer is simply to approve or disapprove an assessment. We have no input into the budgeting process because it's a regional committee. So I share that with you, and if that is something you want to do, I'll be happy to provide his name and contact information. I'm not inclined to do that over a public meeting.
Okay.
So those were the first 2 things I had. You're going to meet, or you have questions about the playground at Peroni Park. The playground is not under the DPW, it's under the Park Commission.
Okay.
Current chairman is Christopher Tavares. His name is on the Park Commission page on the website. They had a report the other day to the Community Preservation Committee. They have just recently ordered equipment. They do not have a contractor. It's slow motion town government, but I would suggest you contact the Park Committee and ask them to meet with you. I don't think the DPW has anything to do with it other than storing the equipment when it arrives.
Okay. Good.
The senior center is an update from just last night. The original committee was dissolved. They voted 9-0 to dissolve themselves because there was no longer a site. A new committee is in the process. That posting was about an hour and a half ago. And the appointment of a new committee is probably going to be 4 to 6 weeks. So that's the latest. And they will be tasked with finding a site as well as designing a building and obtaining funding. So I'm looking at a 2-year process from start to finish before we get to town meeting. So that's the best I can give you there. And I'm sure Robert or Carly was there too. Robert or Carly could give you more information. And Barbara, I don't need to steal your thunder, but what I do want to say is, Kurt, in response to requesting a balance sheet, an income statement, town municipal financing is totally different than private sector. I work with our balance sheet and profit and loss statement at the company I work for every day. And maybe a quick review with Barbara would show you, but you can get a monthly report from the Munis software on every department in town, which I request even as a citizen because it's public information, and you might want to have as a regular meeting item. is just to look at where the status is of the budgets. Because that's important to you at the end of a fiscal year when you need to do reserve fund transfers. Why do they have no money? Why do they have excess money? That type of thing. And then these are a couple of personal matters, because I love my Zoom meetings. It makes it easier for me to hear people. And I mean no disrespect to anyone at the table, but when you speak, please speak into the microphones without your hand at your mouth, because everything was garbled. I heard Kurt perfectly because he projected. I didn't hear Barbara, I didn't hear Jen, and I didn't hear Andrew. I could not understand anything you said. And I understand that's on me because this is a Zoom meeting. And as for Barbara, and I know she does this regularly, but if anybody is at the meeting and wants to say something, they should come to the microphone or come to the table to be heard over the microphone. And I think that's really it. But please, please look into the regional school committee budget processing so that you don't get bogged down into not knowing or asking questions that we really have no say over because it is a regional system. All right?
Great. All right, well, good.
Thank you for allowing me. Thank you for allowing that.
Thanks for showing up.
Thank you very much. Can you hear us now?
No, good. Well, thank you,
Yes,
Pauline.
absolutely, Jim. That was awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to learn to correct my bad habit.
Yes.
I need to do
No,
Toastmasters
we
or
all
something.
fall subject to that, so it's not a criticism, it's just a request.
No, I understand.
Well, that's good. Well, thank you, Pauline. Those are very good items to consider. And I think the committee individual, in other words, I on capital planning committee and the individual members of FinCom, when we meet, when we have a meeting, we can put in an agenda item. And what, Jen, Andrew, what would you think on?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, good.
I would upgrade that to a great idea.
Great idea.
It's so great that it should have been obvious in the first place.
This is good. And then and I think the school committee is a good item also.
I should call them to find out if they have had any meeting that they just forgot to inform me about. So
What's that? The
stormwater you're saying?
yeah. So well, this is good, and this was really my intent, or what I hope to accomplish this evening, was to look at what we do in general and start putting it together in a more structured format. So we've got a meeting schedule now. We've got some, ongoing agenda items: the playground, bridge, fire truck, senior center, and then we'll be looking at, and again, I will be adding these to agendas. Reports on the individual committees that we attend, things about the school committees, and then budget financial reports. And again, so I think we'll have lots to talk about on October 5th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Anything else, Andrew, Jen?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Can I make the motion?
Sure.
Okay, I'd like to make sure.
Never mind. I'll ask you after.
I'd like to I would like it.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn. How about that?
Thank you. I second that motion.
So I don't have to say anything.
So, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
I.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.